Simon Roll reporting, and the Defence Department declined to be interviewed for that story. Well, over the past 3 years, the federal government has spent more than $400 million bringing high-speed internet to the bush. The program's been so popular that last week the money ran out 3 months ahead of time. Well, now a new scheme's been launched, but it cuts the crucial connection subsidy of $3,300 to $1,100. A move furious service providers claim will leave thousands bypassed by the information superhighway.
If you look at a lot of the infrastructure in many Asian countries, because their telecommunication system came online after ours, they have a much better system, and their broadband is very cheap and very fast, and Australia is behind the 8 ball there.
Damien Jolly is a computer programmer and system engineer who moved to Murray Bridge expecting to be able to work from home, only to find that broadband was available in the town, but not 3 kilometres out. And it was going to cost $30,000 to set up a community network with his neighbours. After a lot of petitioning and pushing, he found an internet service provider called Broadband Anywhere who connected him via a wireless system. The company then claimed the $3,300 government subsidy.
I'm sure they would have spent their $3,000 on us for sure, not only in hardware but in the installer. There were times here when he was here till 8 o'clock, at night, still trying to get the system going.
But now the subsidy that got Damien Jolly and others like him connected has been cut by 2/3, and the bush broadband operators say that's put the whole rollout in jeopardy. But Minister Coonan, when contacted by Stateline, said the old subsidy was very generous, as the research done by the Department of Telecommunications indicates that $1,100 is more than sufficient. The Minister told ABC Regional Radio that the days of the slush fund are over.
It's not a slush fund. The people that are brave enough to build these networks do it to at best do slightly better than breaking even. The very fact that these networks don't exist without this subsidy indicates that they're not commercially viable without it. And the people that build these schemes take all of the financial risk to build them.
Simon Hackett was one of the pioneers of the internet at the University of Adelaide 20 years ago. Today his private broadband company, Internode, is one of the top 10 in the country. It's built 16 wireless towers across York Peninsula to connect 400 customers, with another 600 on the waiting list. Internode spent $5 million across the state in the expectation of thousands more customers signing on before July the 1st, when he says the old scheme was expected to end. But the Minister has responded by saying it only ever intended to run the scheme until the money ran out, and that more than $160 million will now be spent under the new scheme.
A week's warning is commercially unreasonable for build processes that take a year from go to woe. And so we obviously aren't impressed or happy about that. Will that bankrupt us? Of course it won't. It just annoys the heck out of us because it means we can't do what we set out to do.
What will it mean for regional South Australia?
It means they won't get the thing we promised them, and that makes me annoyed as hell. And it can be fixed, but it needs to be fixed really rapidly, because right now, because the old scheme's run out, right now nothing can happen.
For those like Damien Jolly who got in before the $3,300 subsidy was cut, he and his family are now on par with their city cousins.
This system's worked out to be about the same cost as what people are paying in Adelaide.
So you're very happy?
Extremely happy, yeah.
When you come out to the bush, it's pretty easy to see how the wireless broadband providers have been spending their money. On the hill behind me is a transmitter. They had to pay for that. They also had to put in this road. And now they say that with the government changing its policy, the money just won't be there in the future. Will people in regional South Australia and in some of the black spots around Adelaide miss out now?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because we won't be able to build that infrastructure. We won't be able to, just haven't got the money to do it. And you're talking millions of dollars.
Rod O'Neill is the CEO of Broadband Anywhere. A former farmer and shearer, he's invested more than $2 million of his own money in the company which competes directly with Internode to cover the regions. It also has hundreds of customers waiting to be connected. What are you telling your customers at the moment?
We're saying that the government has withdrawn the funding that was available, and at this stage we're not quite sure what the guidelines are, and until such time as we know that, we are very, very sorry, but we can't hook you up.
This is a tender document that we received recently. The whole thing had to be faxed in. Tied the fax machine up for probably an hour, but God knows how long it would have taken if they tried to email it.
Just 20 minutes from the Adelaide GPO at Cherryville in the Hills, John Rogers and his son run an earth-moving and engineering business. His property's closer than Golden Grove to town, but he's at the end of an ancient telephone line, in a broadband black spot. After a community meeting last month, he thought wireless broadband was coming, but now he's found out the subsidy's been cut back, so too have his community's hopes.
Everyone at the meeting was quite happy that this will be going ahead and great, but now to find out that that subsidy is being cut back to a very low level, and now they realise, well, they don't realise at the moment, I'm sure, that it's not going to happen. I don't think there'll be too many happy people here.
Satellite of love. Satellite of love.
John Rogers tried a satellite system to solve the problem, but it proved so costly to download information, he terminated the contract after 2 months. And now he's got a dish on the roof as a reminder of the money that's been blown trying to get onto the information superhighway.
It'll just be business as usual, yeah. I know you can say, well, that's all we ever had, but in this day and age when everything in the telecommunication area is changing at 100 miles an hour and everyone's going with it, then we're just left completely behind.
And the Communications Minister says the new broadband guarantee will fill in any remaining black spots.